Whatever you were about to do next can wait 5 minutes. Yes, you, the one holding the phone right now, already preparing to scroll away. You have seen countless messages today, but something made you stop here. My child, that was not an accident. I know exactly what was happening in your heart when you found these words. I know the message you were about to open. I know the distraction you were about to choose. I know the worry you were about to return to. None of those things will disappear in 5 minutes. But I am asking you to give me these next few minutes. Put the phone down if you need to. Take a breath. Become still. Read these words as though I am speaking directly to you, because I know where you are, what you are carrying, and what you've been afraid to say out loud. I have not forgotten you. I knew your name before you ever knew mine. I knew this exact season would come. I knew there would be a night when you would feel exhausted from praying, tired of waiting, and uncertain whether anything was changing at all. You may have stopped asking, because you no longer know what words to use. But I know the prayer you cannot form. I know the pain you hide behind your smile. I know the burden you carry when no one else is watching. And I am telling you now, what you cannot see, I can see. So stay with me, because there is something I want to show you. There is a valley in Scripture that represents exactly what some of you are walking through right now. It was dry, silent, empty, a valley filled with bones. Bones so completely dried out that human eyes could see no possibility of life returning to them. This was the valley I showed the prophet Ezekiel, and I asked him a question. Can these bones live? Ezekiel did not pretend to know the answer. He simply said, Sovereign Lord, you alone know. My child, sometimes that is the most honest prayer you can pray. You do not have to pretend everything is fine. You do not have to force yourself to feel strong. You do not have to say, I understand everything. You can simply say, God, I cannot see how this can change, but you know. Maybe that is where you are tonight. Something in your life feels dry. Maybe it is a relationship. Maybe it is a dream you buried years ago. Maybe it is your hope. Maybe it is your faith. Maybe it is something within your family that has been broken for so long that you no longer remember what peace felt like. You've been standing in your own valley asking, is anything ever going to change? And I want you to remember what happened next. I did not tell Ezekiel to study the bones. I did not tell him to calculate how impossible the situation was. I told him to speak. Dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. And when he spoke, something began to happen. There was a rattling. Bones came together. Tendons appeared. Flesh covered them. And then came the breath. Life entered what had appeared completely dead. The valley was not the end of the story. It was the place where the miracle began. And I want you to hear this clearly. Your dry season is not necessarily your final season. What looks finished to you may not be finished to me. What looks impossible to you is not beyond my reach. But there is something I need you to understand before you continue. I have been preparing you in ways you did not recognize. The waiting was not meaningless. The silence was not abandonment. The season that felt empty was not wasted. I was working beneath the surface. Now, I want you to make a simple declaration. Type received in the comments if you are choosing to believe that this message is speaking directly to the place in your heart that needs hope. Not because I need you to prove anything to me. I already know your faith. Even the faith that feels small. Even the faith that trembles. Even the faith that says, God, I want to believe, but I am tired. I see it. Now stay with me, because there's another part of this message you need to hear. Think about the person who has been strong for everyone else. The person who smiles when they are hurting. The person who cries privately because they do not want anyone to know how exhausted they really are. The person who has spent so long carrying everyone else's burdens that they have forgotten what it feels like to be carried. If that is you, I see you. If it is someone you love, I see them too. And sometimes the first miracle is not that everything around you changes. Sometimes the first miracle is that your heart finally becomes willing to change. Let me tell you about a man named Lachlan. His family had been torn apart after his father died. What should have been a season of grieving became a battle over money, property, and an inheritance. Two brothers who had once been close became strangers. For more than 2 years, they barely spoke. Lachlan carried anger everywhere he went. He prayed late at night and finally admitted, God, I don't even recognize myself anymore. My child, bitterness does something dangerous. It convinces you that holding on to anger protects you. But anger can become a weight you carry long after the original wound has passed. It steals your peace. It steals your sleep. It keeps old arguments alive in your mind. And eventually, the person you are angry with may not even be carrying the weight anymore. You are. Lachlan finally surrendered his pride. He stopped trying to control the outcome and asked me to heal what he could not repair himself. 15 days later, his brother called, not to argue about the house, not to discuss the money. He simply said, I miss you. My child, I am not telling you that every situation will change in 15 days. I am not giving you a formula. I am showing you what surrender can make possible. You cannot control another person's heart. You cannot force reconciliation. You cannot make someone apologize. But you can surrender your own heart. You can release the bitterness. You can choose peace. You can obey when I tell you to take the next step. Sometimes a miracle begins when you stop trying to control what only I can change. If this is speaking to you, press the like button as a simple reminder to yourself. I choose to trust God with what I cannot control. Now listen carefully. There is another scripture I want you to remember. 1 Peter 5 verse 10 says that after you have suffered for a little while, the God of all grace will restore you, strengthen you, make you firm, and establish you. You may be thinking, God, this has not felt like a little while. I know you measure time through sleepless nights,